And we are off. Hello, my friends. I know there's no one listening at this point, but this is for those people who are just watching this because it's on the stream. Because I'm just cracking on. I've got about an hour or so, and I want to make a bit of a start on a little project I've got in my head, which is to make these black leggings, these black trousers, a little bit more interesting, utilizing the powers of this fellow here. It's just coming up on the screen. It's meant to be coming up on your screen now, but it's not. There. On. Cut. There we go. These. Right, so you can probably see these in this area here. So, if you're watching this and you're not British, fair enough, and you don't recognise these are the weather symbols that the BBC, ITV, all of our weather broadcasters use. And so I thought I could make some big versions of these to sew on these trousers. I haven't worked out quite yet if I'm going to do like one leg of weather and one leg black, or one leg of good weather, one leg of bad weather. Either way, what I need to do first is cut these shapes out. So I'm going to get it onto my screen. I'll disappear that because you don't need to see that, because you might have it as a reference. So I've got it up on my screen. So I'm basically going to use this bit of cardboard and create sort of chunky versions of the shape. So they're going to be about this sort of size. If they're rough, doesn't matter. I'm doing it with a biro so you can see it a bit better. I might, bear with me, I'm going to get a Sharpie out so you can actually see what I'm drawing. I should apologise for the glare. This is because I'm working in my office and I have a south-facing office, which means the sun likes to get up all in my shit towards this time of the day. And even if I shut the blinds, it just means it's very dark in here, and then you still get a load of glare, but very thin glare. So basically I'm going to try and work in this area here above the glare. So that's basically my logic on this. So oh, good bad weather top to bottom. That's a great idea. I like that. I do like that. Yeah, it just gets gradually worse as it goes down the trousers. That's a nice idea. Trews for any particular occasion? Not really. I like leggings. I like brightly coloured trousers. I like brightly coloured skirts, dresses, all kinds of different things. And I just thought I had these for a while, just a nice functional, cheap black pair of leggings that I got from Vinted. And I thought, I don't really wear black that much. It's not really my cup of tea. It's useful. I mean, what goes with everything. But I can't really, this is not the sort of thing you can turn up to a wedding in. You can't really turn up in leggings. If you turn up in leggings at a wedding, you go hard or go home. Because there's no point just wearing black ones. So I thought, let's jazz them up. Because what I've been trying to do is play around with fabrics, play around with ideas, and make some of my more bland clothing a bit more interesting. Just by sewing shapes on it, really. And so that's where this idea came from. I'm just going to give it a go. If it looks like a pile of shit, oh well, I've had a bit of a laugh, and it's a sort of a... Mondays is basically my day off from gigging and working and such. And so having a little dick around and making some weird shapes and such seems like a smashing idea. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I think about that sort of size. Just cutting it down to shape. By the way, if you want to listen to what I'm currently listening to my headphones, because I can't be asked to sort out the streaming of the music and all that extra bollocks, go listening to Radio 3. So you're going to hear me humming weird shit, and that's just what happens. So I might just start, because they're doing some choral stuff with some Baroque stuff. So it might be just a case of I'm going to make some weird noises, but we shall see. So basically, let's just do the average shape. It's going to be like that, but it's going to be a hollow shape. So flat bottom, like that. For reference, I just realised. Just put it back on the screen so you have it. Obligatory safety reminder. Yes, don't do it the way that I'm doing it, because I'm a fucking idiot and will probably end up injuring myself. So these little fellas, I'm just going to basically do a simple cloud, basically. Going to cut it out in here, And then I'm going to use this stencil to then basically cut the fabric out and then mess around with it. And obviously the cloud is actually quite a useful one because it's in about 6 of the different shapes. I know that these are a lot of like copies of the same thing over and over again in this little reference picture that I've created for you here, but I couldn't find a decent sized one. I can't be asked to crop it, to be fair, so it's just there as a little reference for you. Right. One of the things that I love about listening to Radio 3 is no matter what the show is, whether it's jazz or rock, well, they do play rock occasionally, it's quite weird, but or avant-garde stuff, they always have the glorious Radio 3 voice. I love the fact that Radio 3 and Radio 4 have decided not to abandon the BBC radio voice. Because obviously, you know, you got Radio 1, Radio 2, Radio 6 and everything. Radio 5, of course, as well. And the local stuff. Talking like normal human beings, which is right, and we should be. But at the same time, I think there is also space to have the really pretentious Radio 3 voice. And I think they should do Radio 3 takeovers of Radio 1 and all the pop stations, because I just think it'd be really fucking funny. And next, Lady Gaga on BBC Radio 1. We're going to do the top 10 of the album charts with a load of bands that I have no idea who they are. But apparently you kids are enjoying this stuff way more than I am. I'd rather be listening to Vivaldi, but we go where the work is, basically. Now, obviously, my thoughts about doing these crafting things, as you can see, I am basic as fuck when it comes to this sort of stuff. It's not my mezzo forte, as it were. I am a musician. This is just basically a bit of a laugh that I do, because, you know, while I'm dicking around and talking rubbish and making stuff, sorry, I put it out here out of the glare again, it's just sort of like, why not just film while doing it? You know, come up with some interesting ideas, chat to people, have a bit of a laugh. And so don't expect high quality work from me, or coherent sentences, let's be honest. And of course, if you're watching to see how long it takes me to cut my fingers off, fair play. Turn it into a drinking game. How many times I swear, how many times I cut myself, and how many times I basically nearly die due to my own incompetence. Oh, for those of you in the chat, if you could let me know, is the audio and the visual syncing up okay? Because I think I've fixed it, because I had a problem with that before. I think I've sorted out the lag. Should be working. Just let me know. It's just sort of a feedback thing. I'll sort it out another time, because it's not the end of the world, but always proving. Not quite. Yeah. Is the audio still a little bit fast compared with the video? Yeah, fair enough. Okay. Well, I think it's better now than it was when I was first trying to fiddle around with it. It's like 0.4 of a second too fast. But, you know, hopefully it's not distractingly different, because that'd be fucking irritating. I should probably do a thing where I actually mention how much I swear on here. Warning, this stream contains foul language and occasionally crafting. Nice and clear low, and the cameras are well positioned. Good. Oh, well, that's a nice bit of feedback. Thank you. Not bad for an idiot with a laptop and a thing. I need to find where my spare blades are, because this one is giving me jip. I can't seem to find my others. Or if you hear weird building noises, that's because I think 2 of the flats in my block are being renovated at the same time for new owners. So there's lots of people making weird noises, which is cool. I'm cool with that. There we go. There's the first one. Ta-da! I also got that one. I could actually do a reverse one, couldn't I? But anyway, that's actually looking, because I'm going to be cutting it with using it as basically a marker for my my fabric. It's be a bit rough. I don't give a shit, really. It's for my own amusement. This is effectively the way that I'm looking at it. Is that oh yeah, I forgot. These are my weird I don't know why I haven't gotten rid of these. These are a pair of scissors that are so fucked they are basically useless, but I refuse to throw them away for some reason. I think they're good luck. Well, this is weird. They're actually working now, which is never normally what they do. They normally just sort of sit there and refuse to open. When they do open, magic comes. I'm one of those people that just collects art and crafting shit. Hang on, sorry, I need to remember to keep going a bit further up the table so it's not obscured by the shininess. They want a W. Yes, that's a good shout. Fortunately, I don't have any. I have that bike equivalent. It's sort of like, it makes me laugh because it's meant to, you know, got WD-40 and it's blue. And there's another one which is red and it's like another letter and another number, which is like sort of the biking version, but it's pretty much the exact same thing. Okay. That's quite good. I'm happy with that. Yeah, look at you. Right. So I think, looking at my image, those little fellas there, I basically need this. I need a little sun, a little snow. Yeah, 2 snows, a bit of rain, and a little tiny sun to pop out behind it, but a bigger one. The sun's going to be an interesting one because it's got the little bits. What are the little bits sticking out of the sun? That's good English, isn't it? What are the little bits? I doubt the... Well, weirdly, that's now really loose. These seize up like nobody's business, but they just become loose. But yeah, you're quite right. I'm not going to be beaten up for incorrectly using the wrong letters whilst like lubricating knives and stuff. But beams. Yeah, why couldn't I remember the word beams? What a weird word to jump out of my head. That's one of those things I was actually discussing with a friend last night when I was playing. I was doing a show in Brighton at the Yellow Book as part of a lovely storytelling and Gothic festival, which was very, very kindly invited me along to. And the couple I was staying with, Laura, my friend, and I were chatting away whilst her husband Nick, an old friend of mine, was getting a lovely tattoo of a mermaid on his arm. And we were talking about this strange thing that both of us experience. It's sort of a neurospicey thing, but also for me, it's part of an old recurring, like a dormant stutter. I refer to it like an old dormant volcano. It doesn't technically have any, not technically causing any danger, but it's could just go for little pointy jobbies. Yeah, that works as well. But with that strange thing with like you with someone has a stutter, it's not just a case of like a juddery sound, but also the fact that there's that, for me, it's like a build-up of words behind a wall, if that makes sense, in my head. And the other thing is when a word will jump out of your vocabulary and then you have to say a load of other words that almost have nothing to do with it to get it in. Like I would look at like the sunbeams thing, like you just said. So what's the thing? The little fellas, the helicopters, the scissors, the guys, beams, It's a very weird thing. I don't know if you get that, but anyway. Funny enough, we were discussing that yesterday. The long-winded way of going around that point. I am familiar with the Captain's Beard. Played a couple of gigs with them. Felix is a lovely human being. Quite mad, but all the best people are, I think. Right, here we go. Okay, so I just need basically, this can be my little bits part. So I need let's zoom in on this one. So I've got a different version than the one that's up on screen. So I'm basically just sort of trying to see it a bit closer. Come on, load up. Okay, enhance. Right. Okay, so it's just literally a teardrop, so that sort of shape. Yeah, so I just need some of those. Actually, you know what? Let's use the stabby. Or to use what you said earlier on in a different context, one of the little pointy jobbies, which I might have to refer to as either a jaggedy shit or potentially the new name for my crafting knife, the little pointy jobby. Pre-menopause, just like a bunch of gaps where my words used to be. I didn't realise that perimenopause actually caused like issues like that. I mean, to be fair, it's not an area of expertise. I mean, the funny thing was, I only ever heard of the perimenopause. I think it's got to pronounce it, isn't it? Yeah, perimenopause. About a year ago was the first time I'd ever heard anyone mention anything about it. Better late than never, all that sort of stuff. Yeah. There we go. One. Actually, you know what? I quite like that one. Yeah. There we go. With this little start, maybe the big one. More like that. Actually, how do they lay it out? Let's have a look at the. Oh, no, it's the other way. Right. There we go. Oh, let's not ruin things. So yeah, there we go. That's what it's meant to be like. Cool. Right. So that's one. So I now need to do this. The snowflake, which is effectively just a little star, really. I'm tempted to sort of think maybe I should get like make the word fog, because that could be quite funny, just the word fog just randomly on there, because that is one of the old signs, but who knows. So yeah, I need, what do I need? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stars, 6 sides. Oh, so it's basically that. No, it's not. I was going to say that. Oh no, that is. That's literally it. So yeah, it's like that. Nothing too spectacular, I think. I think it's one of those things, if I get too bogged down in it, it will sort of like, let's just keep the energy up on it more than anything. I'm not expecting this to be amazing, because this is the first attempt at doing this idea. If it comes out like, that looks good, or that looks shit, I won't try that again. You never know. It's all about trial and error. And a bit Bob Ross then. Don't I make mistakes? Just some happy little stars there. There we go. Just stab it with your happy little knife. There we go. Just a happy little stab there. Right in. Get it. Get that titanium white in there. Just give it a good old stabbing. There we go. Right. Stab it right in there. Be looking for something to watch on Twitch that is rather. I think I mention this quite often. Pretty much every time I stream, actually. Someone has created. I think it's in one of the ones I follow. A stream which is just 24 hours of Bob Ross painting shit. I highly recommend it. It's wonderful just to listen into in the background, or just find it on whichever streaming service has it. But I think as it's meant to be public service television, but it's also American public service television, I sort of resent having to pay a subscription fee for it, in the same way that I don't like the idea of paying subscription fees to watch BBC programmes. But that's another story. Or paying a subscription service to watch my national football team. There we go. Aha! Snow. Let's do another one. I think we actually sort of do a relatively similar. I think if they're quite uniform, that makes life a bit easier, doesn't it? Because they're sort of uniform-ish. Because they can look rubbish, provided... I just realised I've just done that. I don't know which one of my lines is which. Oh, I fucked that right up, haven't I? Log it in place. There we go, something on that one. There we go. Okay. Bit of snow. Oh, snow. Talking of snow, one of the things that considering how accurate Game of the Thrones. God, I sound like an old person talking about that lovely Game of the Thrones, that lovely Sion Beyond that's in it. But considering it's written by an American, the sort of realistic attitude towards like northern accents and various other things, and it was quite nice that they sort of, in the books they were northern accents as well, but there's a couple of things in it that, speaking as a son of a Lancastrian, sounds like a weird way of saying son of a bitch, doesn't it? If you're from Yorkshire, you probably do. Ah, you son of a Lancastrian. But one of the things that I found really stupid and quite jarring, and I just wanted other people feel the same way, that, God, that's much bigger. Oh well, yeah, dynamics. There we go. Is that they used to keep on saying, you know, you know nothing, Jon Snow. Shouldn't it have been you know nout? Because I don't think any Northerner would say nothing. And of course, you know, that's because both of those characters were played by Cockneyers, so it didn't quite have the same old vibe. Anyway, that's just me completely missing the point and sort of. Might have to shrink that one down, actually. It's a bit too big, isn't it? Yeah, it's far too big. Let's shrink him down. God, I'm talking rubbish, aren't I? Making stuff for no reason, because it's lovely outside and I'm scared of the outside people. It's not true. I went out for a cycle earlier today. It was absolutely gorgeous. It's a lovely time of year where all your washing dries out really quickly. You know, fuck it all, Jon Snow. Yeah, surprised that didn't get said, actually. That makes a lot more sense. That's also a lot more culturally accurate, I think. I used to joke in saying that Kit Harington playing a Northerner was cultural appropriation because he was far too southern and posh, and the job should have gone to a Northerner. But I was drunk at the time. Probably not the best thing to do. This makes it sound like an arse hat. But, yeah. Nearly there. So I have to admit, I am going to sort of cheat with the sun, I think. Here we go. There we go. Bit of. So we've got rain and we've got snow. I shall name this snow Jon Snow. You don't, or you don't know fuck all Jon Snow, which oddly means something. Yeah, you know fuck all. You're a little bastard. But let's see. So how big do we want our sun to be? Let's get my reference up. So it's got to be about that sort of size, going by the size of it is. Oh, I need a lightning bolt. That's the other thing. Lightning. Can't forget the lightning. That'd be rubbish. You can't have thunder without lightning. I need one for that, don't I? So, go. I sort of discover a little nothing to make things sweeter. Oh, baby, refrain. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, there we go. What did you get up to on Sunday? Oh, I watched someone slowly go mad whilst cutting out cardboard weather symbols. Someone bashed against the wall behind me. Which is weird because that's my front room, so it must be ghosts. What we're currently listening to on Radio 3 at the moment. It's In Tune. Oh, Rachmaninoff, of course it was. So currently listening to a bit of soothing Rachmaninoff. That's one of the things that I find odd with a lot of streamers that put music on in the background that the audience can hear. It'd be nice if you had an option where you can turn it off or on. You probably can, and that's me showing that I know nothing about this. I know nout. But one of the things that I quite like when putting streaming on when I'm watching it myself is to, oh, I love that. Exactly the right size. Marvellous. Is to create... whilst you're doing your crafting or you're listening, and then you put your own music on in the background. But if you're listening to the streamer that's got it embedded, it's sort of like, oh, I can't really listen to what I want to listen to. And because everyone uses sort of almost library music. It's generic fluff because it's license-free stuff, you know. Let's see, how big do we want this? Is this going to be the right size by accident? It fucking is. Ha ha ha! Brilliant. Love that. Maybe make it slightly larger. Let's make it slightly larger. Just take my scraps box. Yeah, fuck it. Let's treat ourselves to a massive, great big sun, shall we? So as well as obviously watching yours truly slowly go insane while making stuff, is there anything else you were up to this fine Monday? I keep thinking it's Sunday because it's my Sunday. Enjoying the sunshine, the lollipops and other such things. I really do need to get a better knife. Well, just get the blades, but I don't know where they are. Possibly in the shelving thing I have over there, which has all of my usual stuff. Whoop. Sunshine. So it's just basically lots of little weave fellas. So yay, I love the sound of banging. It's really great. Oh yeah, love it. Just fucking love it. I mean, to be fair, it is Monday during the day when everyone else is at work, so I can't fucking complain too much. I mean, if he was doing it at 3 in the morning, he can go fuck himself, but, you know. Or herself. I don't know who's doing the noise. Maybe it's a very aggressive stag beetle. Who knows? Is that long enough? That looks about right. So I need... Wow, that is... You can hear it through my microphone, can't you? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I need 12. So I'm going to make a little note to remind myself that I need to make 12 of these. 12 beams. Right. Okay. So the beams will go around that, and then we have little beamy face goes around there as well. To here. So dush, 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 dush. Wonderful. Okay. I think I've got all the ingredients that I need to start cutting some fabric out. How exciting! Right, so let's just double check. I could do fog, but I can't be arsed. I mean, to be fair, there's a lot of stuff to play around with here anyway. So, to go into the craft box and find myself some lovely different shapes. I've got some little bits in here. Be quite interesting. I've got some. So, what I would like is some. These are nice little bits for the fiddlies. So we need some yellows. This would be nice. Some really thick yellow would be good. Because there is the trick of just going like. Oh, actually, these would be quite. The thing is, because it's going to be on black. Having just black fabric, it will just get lost. So he can hammer in the background. Yeah. I'm supposed to be joining my Morris side to help on decorating the Jack in the Green with ivy leaves, but they managed to finish yesterday. So get your even back. Hooray! And yes, you can hear the hammering. Well, they're all bastards. I think it'd be quite good fun to just sort of... Yeah. Because that would be quite good fun to have that colour on that. Just do all kinds of random ones. Well, I've got some nice yellow over here, actually. So what I might do is that could be quite a nice sun, I think. That'd be really quite nice. Some greens, that's not really useful. Another quite an interesting sun pattern, I think. A little sort of bluey thing. Well, let's do the sun first, because I reckon we can make a load of those. So if I do like, considering how big these are going to be, how big they're going to be, what, 3, 4? There's even more fabric than I thought. Even better. Right. that. Don't worry. I don't have a massive amount of patience. I have a sewing machine. Because I'm cheating. Is it cheating? Yes, I suppose it is. I think they're putting some Wagner on Radio 3, if you're interested. I say Wagner, there's only one Wagner track worth listening to. Made the mistake of listening to the entirety of the Ring cycle. Partially as a joke for my old radio station. They asked me to, because I was the sort of, over lockdown, the de facto classical DJ, because I was the only one that actually listened to classical music. And so they went, oh, could you do a classical show? I was like, yeah. And the entire playlist was made up of the songs I used to listen to when I was severely hungover. Because it's the best way of doing it. So what I would do, they're all like an hour long when I was like hungover and cooking. So what I would do is just going to cut through this right nicely, because it might be better with the, it's probably going to be, no, not playing ball. Let's see if I can, I'm going to find those blades, because they must be here somewhere. Right, so yeah, they decided that because I listened to classical music, that made me the most qualified to be the classical DJ. And to be fair, during lockdown, when there was fuck all else to do, it was actually quite nice. And I sort of made a little classical show that was basically like a kind of an unapologetically basic kind of thing. So basically, I was just playing the stuff that's good and popular. Some of it's nice, so some of it's stuff that everyone's heard of, and then some of it is stuff that I've been listening to that you go, oh, you like this, have a listen to this. And it did okay. I had quite a few regular listeners, but because of that, bless you, because of that, I was asked to, in a weird kind of way, someone thought, oh yeah, you should do we need some solemn music. Is there solemn music? Yeah, like when, because at the time this is before the Queen obviously passed away and Prince Philip had passed away, and they were like, well, we need some solemn music because otherwise we have to go to the BBC World Service. Because I don't know whether you know this, but when it comes to radio stations, there are lots of rules for radio stations, and about what to do in national emergencies. So there's actually a protocol over certain members of the royal family, certain politicians, including the Prime Minister, if the Prime Minister's killed or something, that in those national emergencies, that radio stations have to move over their signal to the BBC. So the idea is that they get a sort of a solemn coverage to talk about the solemnity of the event in a respectful blah 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 blah, blah kind of way. So, or you can play somber music. So if you're a classical station, you can keep doing the classical stuff. And so they were like, well, we want to keep it. For some reason, I think their thoughts were, we should keep it on our station so people listen to it. And they were like, well, we don't have any somber music because we're a sort of, well, the random shit that we listen to. Ah, they're the Blades. I found them. Haha. So they asked me to compile a playlist. And I said to this group of people, have you ever heard of Wagner's Ring Cycle? And they went, yes, because it sounds familiar. And I said, yes, where Ride the Valkyries come from. So, oh, okay, it's 15 hours long. And I said, no, literally, it's 15 hours long. So I thought, this is the perfect opportunity for me to actually listen. Nearly dropped that on my John Thomas there. The Blade, not Wagner. Perfect opportunity that will probably never rise itself again to actually listen to the entirety of the Ring Cycle. So there it was in the background while I was working. I was loading it up onto my system, listened to it whilst recording it and checking it. Not sure what I was checking it for, swearing or something. The Berlin Symphony Orchestra, famous for their swearing midway through songs. And yeah, so spent 15 hours of my life whilst working from home, listening to the Ring Cycle and recording it, and then I uploaded it to our computer system, and it was like and I created like idents in the middle of it saying, I think I was given a phrase I had to say, which was, due to recent events, regular broadcasting has been suspended. We will return to regular broadcasting as and when, that kind of thing. So that looks quite nice. I quite like that. That's going to look great. So yeah, Lizzykins dies. God bless her. And I'm still at the station, everything's going on, and I just happened to be listening to the radio, and the BBC World Service is on. I was like, hang on a minute, what about our playlist? And someone had completely forgotten that I created this playlist for this exact moment. And it was too late now. They were just on the Royal Service, so they just listened to it. I just left it as it was. And so I just listened to the Ring Cycle for no fucking reason. I just wasted 15 hours of my life because it's not even a very good fucking opera. If there are Wagner fans out there, you might be a Wagner fan. Obviously, the man was a total fucking cunt, but he's dead, so he can't make any more money out of it. So I'm not talking about, oh, it's terrible because he's a dick. Some moments are really, really good, but when you've got a 15-hour opera, I think it tests the patience of most people, unless they're just trying to sound like they're, oh, yes, I do love the Ring Cycle. Because the best way of explaining it, and my friend Dave said it, it's got some very good 20 minutes and some very dull 3-hour stints, and that's very true. And actually, a lot of the Ring Cycle is basically the main part of the Ride of the Valkyries riff, I suppose way of saying it, melody, just played in slightly different ways. So if you want to get a feel for what the Ring Cycle is about, read the story, and then just listen to Ride of the Valkyries over and over again. And that will actually be more exciting. Although I did find out that there is, in fact, an abridged version of the Ring Cycle that is a mere 3 hours long. So if you wanted to get the bite-sized, cut-down version, by all means, waste 3 hours of your life. I would also say, unless you really, really fucking want to, I wouldn't. There are plenty of other brilliant operas and things you can get into. The opera that I got into, that actually helped me get into it, was Die Fledermaus, because it's actually a comedy. And to be fair, it was played by the Welsh National Opera, and they did translate it into English. Now, I will hold my hands up and say that I am a complete noob or dirty member of the great unwashed when it comes to a lot of classical music. I know what I like and I know what I don't. And opera is one of those things that's just a bit too much for me. But especially in its original languages, I understand and completely respect music should be shared and as often as possible in the language of its creation. But if you're trying to sort of get more people to connect to it, translating it into our native language is a smashing idea. Obviously, learning enough German to be able to speak it in German would probably be a much better experience. Fair enough. Not for me, though. I don't speak enough German. Mein Deutsch ist scheiße. I mean, literally, I can ask for water because I've watched far too many World War II movies and say please. Wasser bitte. Bieren bitte. So I call it survival German, where you can speak enough things where you don't starve to death of that language. Then that will do. Ich möchte bitte mein grosses Bier. Is that I would like a large beer? Boy, ein. Oh yeah, ein. Ich möchte bitte ein grosses Bier. A big beer, yeah. I would like a big beer. Grosser. Nein, grosser. Grosser. Gut. Sehr gut. I used to learn Polish. Not I used to learn Polish. I used to be able to speak Polish. Because one of my old clients when I used to work in a care home was Polish. Or two of them actually. Polish was their first language. And one of them had a carer that was always Polish, strange enough to communicate with them. The other one was just such a happy little chappy and he would do anything, and a very trusting, lovely little guy. And so he would do whatever his carers would suggest. So he was no problem at all. So you can communicate with him not in Polish. But one day I decided, why not? Considering two of my clients are actually, that's their first language. Maybe I should learn a bit of Polish. So I learned how to do a lot of the phrases that I would use while chatting to them anyway in Polish. And strangely enough, they found it a lot more engaging working with me. Have a good one. Tatty bye. I try to remember to post pictures. I'm rubbish at this sort of thing. Go and enjoy a gross beeren. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. One more. 12. If anyone out there is having a little watch on the stream, do say hello, just so I know who's there. I mean, I'm just going to carry on working anyway, and talking bollocks, because that's what I do. It's a special set of skills to talk utter horseshit while continually working. It's just nice to know if you're there, because if not, it's for the people who are watching this on demand, because why not? So, there we go. I think if we do it that way around, and we have the different patterns as well. Cool. There we go. It's a good starting point. So let's pin this bad boy on the leggings. I think I might start this off on the thigh. So up here somewhere. Quite nice. I might do my stuff, because I've got handily. I've got some like teddy bear stuffing I was using to make my some bits and pieces. So I might use that, stuff it, so it makes it easier to sort of get the pins through without it pinning to the bottom. So let's give that a try. Oh. Don't get excited, you silly little thing. Right, there we go. It was great. I just got piles and piles of this stuffing given to me, and now it's all coming up Aubrey. If you like this stream and would like to see more madness of this complete lunatic doing strange things on the internet, please give me a follow and other such things, because I do this sort of thing every Tuesday or something similar, what I call my Fizzy Brain stream, if you didn't know, where I talk about all the mad stuff I've been doing to keep me on the road as a musician, because I'm a full-time musician, pretty much. I have a part-time job that stops the rent from scaring the shit out of me, but this is my... I say this. These trousers are my main income. Without these trousers, I would die a sad and lonely death. God, this has actually made this a lot easier. Should have done this before. And by this, I mean putting stuffing underneath inside the leg, because I don't know if you can see this properly. So I'll move that forward a bit more up the screen so you guys can see. Stuffing inside, putting the little sunbeams. I might actually put a bit more stuffing. Why? I've got so much of it, I might as well just go nuts for now and make this as easy as I possibly can on myself. There we go. Haha. Oh, got a message from the wife. Oh no. My wife is stuck in traffic. Well, it does mean that potentially we're coming towards the end of the stream. Not like is in the next 30 seconds. I think when I've got all of these pinned on, it will be the end of the stream, because the dear lady riding instructor, her indoors, is going to need a pint, I think, from the tone of her voice. You couldn't hear it because it's on my headphones, underneath these headphones. But she is not livid or angry, but she sounds like, you know what? I've done with this shit. Absolutely done with it. Right. You know, this is... I mean, I'm only just pinning this in place, and I'm already like, this looks fucking great. I'm already quite chuffed with this. Oh, who'd have thought? It's one of those things of like, I'm probably talking to no one on stream, but who the hell cares? In the acting job that I did for Call Me Mother Nature, which you may have seen on my Instagrams about this bits and pieces, lovely bit of queer climate change friendly theatre. That one of the things we did was talk about making our own costumes and making our own things. I just fell in love with the idea of just fucking around with fabrics and just making stuff, and just the pleasure of playing around and fucking it up and doing it right and just having a bit of laugh like this. I mean, that looks like it's going to be fucking smashing. There on the thigh there, a little bit of sunshine under the thigh. So I think I might just put them on rent, because I was chatting earlier on about what kind of, where to put the different weather. I might actually just randomize it, because these are nice and chunky. I'll try sewing them up. How I actually sew them on is going to be a bit of a challenge for another video for another day, I think. Because once I got this pinned on, it's sort of like, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, if we do that, then do like another one down here with the other bits like sticking out of there. That'd be quite nice, wouldn't it? Down on the knee. So, pop that down. Looks like a really weird Guy Fawkes penny for the guy thing at the moment. Right, so I need a few more bits of these. Let's say, how many do we need? Let's look at my reference piece here. I've got, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got 4. Let's make some more. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's make some fucking more. Okay, there's my little sunbeams. Really like that fabric. Excellent find. So maybe I actually use this as the cloud. See how well that works. Yeah, I reckon so. That goes quite well together. Maybe I should find a white one. Or hang on. With that material. Oh yes. That's a lovely little combo. Let's do that. Let's go fucking nuts. I say fucking nuts. I'm just doing this. Yeah, let's go overboard. Let's go fucking crazy. And make a quite straightforward design. Right. Where are you, my trusty Sharpie? I put you somewhere safe, didn't I? And by somewhere safe, I mean safe from my own hands where I can't find you. There you are. Haha. There we go. It's one of those things of people saying, oh, and I've had a couple of people when I've been making stuff like this, have been like, oh, maybe you should do some like TikToks of you making stuff as well. It's like, I've got enough fucking shit to do at the moment. This is sort of quite straightforward because I can basically just set the rig up whilst I'm dicking around. But like filming, because I gave it a bit of a go for the for my Patreon a while back. It sort of felt like, oh, this sort of works. In fact, there's a design I need to finish. But it's sort of, I kind of like the long form thing anyway. I've gotten quite good at doing the sort of short, snappy stuff for social media to advertise the band, and then to do more of it. And that's the thing is, if I start doing crafting stuff on there, and then it's sort of the amount of effort, the whole point of me going on TikTok is to advertise my shows. And in fact, this material, these things, these clothes I'm making, are for myself, but also for like stage show stuff. So it'd be a bit weird if bits and pieces that I'm out first stabbing. Have a drink if you're playing along. Is it bleeding? It is. Got a first bit of claret. Look at that. So yeah, if you're yeah, I'm bleeding on the fabric. Bleeding on the fabric. Sounds like a song. Not one that I would write, but it just sounds like a song. I mean, not one that I'd write in a sort of like dismissive, like that's not the sort of thing I would write. I mean it in a kind of like, if I wrote it, it would be rubbish. Oh, on Radio 3 at the moment, what I'm currently listening to in my ear bits, is a jaunty medieval style guitar piece, which is absolutely lovely. It sounds like a fair maiden skipping across a stream. So as a fan of English folk music, there is a difference between like English folk music and like Irish and Scottish folk music. Irish is very wistful. English is fucking depressing. It's that weird thing of like, basically it's all about death. And it's like, it starts off quite promising. It's like, oh, I've got a lovely job, a lovely wife, things are going lovely. And then everyone dies. Probably because of the plague. Or, you know. A young boy sent off to fight the French. He died. Oh, okay. I think that's the only way you can tell the difference between sort of older English and Irish folk songs from each other. Before, you know, nowadays you get the sort of up the rah kind of stuff and fuck you, Churchill, you cunt. Understandably so. Where you can tell the difference in the lyrics, but before you have the same sort of stories of like, one morning out, one lovely maiden fair, and I saw her, you know, that sort of thing. The Irish ones would be like, oh, that lovely little lassie there, she's off down the shops, good for her, and hope she'll be back. Oh, she has come back, brilliant, of course she has, she's a good lass, she's looking after her father, good family there, lovely lady, good for her. The English version would be, I went off one morning fair, and she died of AIDS. The end. That's my professional opinion, by the way. Oh, another message from the wife. Oh, on Lodge Road. She is fast approaching, my dears. So let's... Okay. Got the news, it's all depressing. It's like, oh, death. It reminds me of the thing, the Bill Hicks thing. An old joke is just when you go on the news, it says murder, death, recession, AIDS, depression, war, famine, death, AIDS. And you look outside and it's like, on the TV, war, famine, death, AIDS. So where this shit happening, man? Ted Turner is making this shit up. Jane Fonda won't sleep with him. By 1992, will die of AIDS. I don't get laid. No one gets laid. Can't help but think that. I mean, like, British news seems to just be like, yeah, they should be scared of everything. Why? It sells. And then people are like, but people hate it. So it's like, who are you selling it to? the secret vote for the Pope. The secret Pope vote. Pope vote. Pope vote 2024. This week, we discover the world's newest Pope. Popey McPopeface. I'm trying to work out if the rest of the world has gone into the same ferv, weird moment when what the British did with the death of the Queen, when like everything, like, oh my God, everything's death, Queen stuff. Why is the Queen dead? But about the Pope, maybe, I don't know. But then again, I wouldn't quite know what everyone else is doing, because in this country we're sort of indifferent to the Pope, by the majority. But we shall see. I see, actually it goes from here. Oh, you cheeky devil. No wonder it looks slightly weird. It's going in a different way. And that's how we get the extra one. Aha, you cheeky devil. Oh, yes. There we go. Okay. Right, let's put it on our leg, shall we? I think this might be the last thing I do today. Well, I'm going to be doing other things like eating or sleeping, breathing, that sort of thing. But the last bit of crafting I'm going to be doing today. Let's see. On the knee there. Try not to stab myself with my own pins, 'cause that would be rubbish. There we go. Put you down there. Actually going to do it on this side, I think. So let's have a look. So it's going to be straight up. Seems to be some very jolly music on Radio 3 at the moment. It's one of the nice things, the variety of stuff you get on Radio 3 is ridiculous. So they went from happy-go-lucky Irish music to now it feels like something from a 1950s Disney movie. Like the sort of you can imagine some cartoon animals just sort of losing their shit or something while on screen. Hey, it's a metaphor for slavery, probably. Alright. What do you mean, being against slavery? Nah. And there's the wife. Hello, darling. It sounds like what? Bleach. Oh yeah, they've been cleaning the living shit out of the flat. I'm just finishing off a bit of sewing, then I'll be right with you. Okay. Got a curry on the go. Should be. I'll just heat through the rice for you. Oh, there we go. Looks like we're just rounding off nicely to the end of this stream. I'm going to go sort of curry out and take my wife out for a pint. Thank you very much for joining me this wonderful sunny Monday afternoon. Hopefully see you tomorrow at 9 o'clock when I do my Fizzy Brain stream. I talk bollocks about what I've been doing. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I might move it lower. It's a bit close to it. Might move that down to there, but that's for another time. Like I said, thank you very much for joining me this evening, or this afternoon actually, and hope to see you again soon. This looks chill. Thank you very much, my friend. Hopefully you'll join me again in the future when I do my crafting stream. And I'll make some more stuff. But meanwhile, I'm going to go make a curry and have a pint. So see you all later. Ta-ta!